I got you. Let's sew. As you can see, I have a total of 14 stitches on my brother's sewing machine. Stitches 6 through 10, there's a little diagram on the dowel showing you how your stitches are going to look. Number 6 is extremely tight. It's going to be extremely hard to get out. I'm going to be honest, I never use this one. Let's start with 10. 10 is really loose. It's going to be really good for gathering. Most of the time, I'm using anywhere from 8 to 10 when I'm doing a straight stitch. As for the rest of these stitches, keep in mind there's also going to be a small diagram showing you every single number on your machine. Number 1 is a bit more complex, so we are going to come back to that. 2 through 5, as you can see, are just different zigzag stitches. You got tight, you got wider, you got, mid-size. Then you have 6 through 10. Those are the same as on here. Number 11 is pretty interesting because you see that the dot is different. On these stitches, the dot is centered. This is your needle. However, on number 11, what happens, can you see that? It's actually shifting my needle to the left. And now the stitch is going to be more to the left than it is centered. So you have to adjust your fabric accordingly. 12 through 13, these are just fancy little stitches. I honestly never use these. The only time I play around with all of these stitches is when I'm doing a demo for my students. Let's go back to number 1 because it's a bit more detailed, but I really want to show y'all. Okay, so this series of stitches, more than anything, is just about reading and being extremely attentive, okay? You see that there's 4 letters, A, B, C, and D. Ultimately, what you're going to have when you finish this series of stitches is a rectangle that looks like this. I'll show you exactly what it looks like on a garment. On your dowel, you're going to have a series of stitches that looks like this, okay? So let's get into it. Think about ABC order. You're going to start with A, okay? A is on the bottom. So when you put your dowel on AC, it's going to start here. What the double lines means is just going to be a back and forth stitch, this bottom part of the rectangle. When you move your needle, the next thing is going to be B. So you're going to move your needle to B. Then you're going to, the stitch is going to move up. That's what that upward arrow is. Then you're going to go back to AC. Think about a rectangle. We're basically going here, up, here, down. Okay, so when you go back to AC, it's going to do that series of back and forth stitches. Then you'll do D, and you see that arrow moves down. That is going to complete your rectangle. Let me show y'all what this looks like on a garment because it's super cool. So this is what you're preparing for, is a buttonhole. This is a sample vest that I actually showed in a lesson for my online sewing students. This is what your rectangle looks like, the back and forth stitches. You see the lines on both sides, and look at how well my buttons are sitting in the buttonhole. After you get this rectangle together, you're going to put a slit in there. You'll learn all of that.